John Bradburne was a convert to Catholicism who holds the Guinness World Record for being the most prolific poet in English. He volunteered at a leper colony in Zimbabwe and was martyred there in 1979. He was born in 1921 in England and baptized in the Church of England. His father was an Anglican clergyman and his mother had lived in India as a child. She told her children stories of life in India, including stories about the plight of the lepers there. During World War II, he volunteered for the Indian Army and he was stationed in British Malaya. After the fall of Singapore, he was shipwrecked, but he was later rescued. During the war, he had a religious experience. He went back to England and became a Catholic in 1947, inspired by reading the works of Cardinal Newman. He then wanted to join the Benedictines, but he was rejected because he hadn't been a Catholic long enough. For the next 16 years, he wandered Europe and the Middle East, staying with different religious congregations, trying to figure out his exact vocation. It's a bit difficult to succinctly summarize all of his travels during this period. His experiences seem a little kind of random and disjointed. For example, in Italy, he lived in a church's organ loft for a year playing the organ, but then he was also funded by a Jewish diamond dealer for a time when he thought he was called to be a missionary amongst Jewish people. He really did earn the title God's Vagabond. He joined the secular Franciscan order on Good Friday 1956, but he remained a layman. His wanderings brought him into contact with members of different religious orders, and they all thought very highly of him. One Marist sister said, "He played the jester, but he was not a jester at all. It was his way of concealing his profound spiritual life." Eventually, he grew weary of this life as God's vagabond. He wrote a letter to a Jesuit friend and asked, "Is there a cave in Africa where I can pray?" His desires were answered when, in 1969, he was invited to Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, to be a missionary helper in a leper colony. He was 41 years old and he said he only had 3 wishes for the rest of his life: to help the victims of leprosy, to die a martyr, and to be buried in the Franciscan habit. He joined the Mutemwa leprosy settlement, which was in a very sorry state. Coletta Mafuda, a patient there, said, "He arrived with few possessions, only love. The colony was filthy and the people were dirty. There was no medication, no clothes, and people went hungry. He took care of everyone's needs, feeding people and washing and bandaging our sores." The settlement was a cut-off community of leprosy patients who had been abandoned by others. He was determined to treat them with care and love. He said, "From the day I set my eyes on these people, I discovered I am also a leper among my own people. Working for and with them, I feel appreciated, that I am doing something good." Throughout this time, he obeyed the rule of the Third Order of St. Francis, singing the daily office of Our Lady. Every week, the colony was visited by the Venerable Dr. Luisa Guidati, who became his friend. I will be doing a video on her at a later date. Eventually, John got into a conflict with the colony's management committee. He refused to put number tags around patients' necks as if they were cattle, to reduce their already small rations, or to prescribe female lepers with contraception pills when ordered to do so. The management committee expelled him from the colony, so he lived in a tin hut just outside the compound. From there, he continued to help the patients as much as he could. He also spent his time writing poetry, sometimes a dozen or more poems a day. His poetry celebrated God, Jesus, Mary, nature, and humanity. Life in the leper colony was threatened by the Rhodesian Bush War. The war had been raging since 1964, but by 1979, fighting had reached the area of the colony. Dr. Louisa was arrested and charged with failure to denounce rebels. She would later be murdered. Other missionaries in the area were killed in the fighting as well. John's friends urged him to leave for safety, but he insisted that he could not abandon the lepers. He was abducted on September 2, 1979. It's said that the leader of the kidnappers wanted to release him and deport him to Mozambique, but he still refused to abandon the lepers. He was shot and killed on September 5, 1979, at the age of 58. He was buried in a Franciscan habit according to his wishes. A local newspaper said, "The friend of the lepers was murdered. He was a complete man of God. He was totally good. The lepers depended on him and, I believe, loved him very much. He gave up his total life for the lepers, and he was also a good poet." He left behind almost 170,000 lines of poetry, earning him a Guinness World Record as the world's most prolific poet in English. In 2019, the Congregation for the Causes of Saints ruled that his beatification cause could proceed. You can actually read all of John's poems online at johnbradburnepoems.com. I'm going to add a link to that in the description below. The tin hut where John lived is now a place of pilgrimage. People gather there to bring their petitions and to pray for his eventual canonization.